Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to the Knits by Lillian podcast. It is finally fall. It's spooky season, even though it's 90 degrees outside and I can barely tolerate this cardigan. Don't worry about that. It is fall and it's time for cables, it's time for color work, it's time for wool pullovers. This is my time, baby. This is when we thrive. So these are the top 10 things that I want to cast on this fall. They're the top patterns I've had in my queue. I doubt that we'll get to all 10 of them because I have the attention span of a squirrel and I do not have that much yarn in stash. So if you would like to cast on some of these instead of me, please feel free. Without further ado, here are all the patterns. Okay, so the first sweater I have for us is the Willow Pullover by Andrea Goggin Knits. This sweater was just released and I am obsessed with it. I saw it like 6 days or something before the pattern was about to come out and I was like, I'm gonna cast that on immediately. So it's this all over cabled, sorry, maybe not cable, textured. I think there's no actual cable stitches, giving it this basket weave cross hatch stitch pattern over the entire body and sleeves, kind of a boxy fit. I love this so much. So she did it on 4mm needles using the Biche & Bush Le Petit Lamb's wool and the silk mohair. So I think the two held together, which I have knitting for olive merino and silk mohair. And I think that the combination would be perfect. It's this kind of a little bit darker than the burnt orange she used, but kind of along the same lines. So I think this is perfect for fall. Honestly, I think this is kind of transcends seasons, but I think the texture and the pullover shape is perfect for fall. This pattern is just so unique to me. Sorry, I have my little cheating iPad up here, so if I'm not looking you in the eye, I promise I wish I was, okay? This pattern just is so original to me. In like 2019, 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, when I first started knitting, I cast on a bunch of samples of basket weave because I wanted a basket weave sweater and I couldn't find a pattern for it. And just nothing worked. Like the basket weave was kind of puckery, and it just, everything was warping, the stitches were really pulling. So to see the way that this lays out is so perfect. I love the shape of it, I love the construction, the folded collar is it. I think it's just so clean and basic, but so original and interesting. I need one in every color. This is gonna be like episode 1 of me saying that I wanna make this in burnt orange because here, listen, I've had that knitting for olive yarn cooking in my stash, okay? She's been in there for a minute and everything I see, I think, could I use this knitting for olive yarn? And the problem or the solution is that for most patterns, I probably could. I think that's a pretty standard weight for anything between like 3.5 and 4.5mm needles, which is a lot of patterns. I almost want to say the majority. It's a lot of patterns right around that like 18 to 22 stitch gauge. So this one is a, okay, it doesn't say the gauge right here. 20 stitch gauge. So that would be perfect. I think a really dark olive green would look stunning too, or a white cream off-white like this. Oh, speaking of, this is my beachside cardigan. It's currently in testing. The yarn is organic cotton by Blue Sky Fibers. It's the only thing I have that's like remotely cool enough to wear, except it's kind of not. Like this yarn is breathable, but also she's kind of dense. This pattern is in testing right now. It should be released in the next couple months, so stay tuned for that. But I've been getting some wear out of this cardigan this summer. But I think this color, kind of like a sandy cream off-white, would look so cool with the stitch pattern. Like what wouldn't? This blue, that would look great. Okay, we're sidetracking. I love this pattern. I'm so excited it's released. It's so perfect. Size range, 12 sizes available. What more can we ask? That's 12 sizes. What else can I say? Perfection, go get it right now. So the next pattern I have for us is called the Barley Field Slipover, and it's actually a free pattern on the Hobby website. So it's by JoJo Knitwear, published on the Hobby website. This is a trio pattern. I'm think they're all free. There's a cardigan, a pullover, and then the slipover. The texture of this, I love as the slipover. I think you can see the texture a little bit better when it's not extended to the sleeves as well. So this is a 15 stitch gauge. So it's 2 yarns held together with a worsted and a lace to get a bulky weight, which I have a lot of bulky yarn in stash, but I think that if I did it with a true bulky yarn instead of a worsted with the lace, I don't think it would drape as well as their sample does. And I love the texture of this so much. I think it's so stunning. I think, so it only goes up to size 3XL. I gotta do some math here. It's the largest chest circumference is 56 inches, not including any ease. So it's not the most size inclusive, but it's also free, so kind of a give and a take. And since it's just a slipover and not a full pullover, it takes a lot less yarn. So I'm thinking that this is something I could piece together from some scraps in my stash. Also thinking, considering this could be a good 3 strands held together project, because I have some lace weight yarn that I don't have enough of to do a full pullover or a full cardigan in. And I just don't know what to do with it, because I feel like scraps of mohair or lace yarn, lace weight yarn, like I can't find as many uses for it. You can't make a hat, you can't make mittens with just one. Maybe you could. I'm not going to probably. So I'm thinking this could be a good stash buster. And the way they have it styled over a white collared shirt, like hello. It's giving like I go to a fancy boarding school, even though I'm not the age to go to school. Like it's so chic, but also so interesting. This is fall knitting, baby. Texture, warmth, coziness, chicness. I think fall's my favorite season because you can layer, but you don't have to layer, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I lose part of my style in the summer because it's too hot. Like I wear this shirt, but I don't wear anything over it when I leave. And the only way I know how to layer is with like jewelry or a baseball cap or like my shoes. But fall, you could have textures, you can have textures over textures, and then you don't have to wear a coat to cover it all up. It's just so perfect. So I think this is gonna be a good staple. Episode 2 of it would look good burnt orange, it would look good dark green, it would look good navy blue. That might be a little too school uniform, or like a burgundy. Yeah, but you know, burnt orange, of course. Okay, so to me, fall screams cables, okay? I love a cable knit. Texture and cables, that's my thing. So everybody is already talking about this, but I wanted to mention the Book Club cardigan by Sari Norland. She's one of my favorite designers, maybe ever. She designs really good staple pieces, but none of them I would say are basic, if that makes sense. Like most of her pieces aren't just, I don't want to say just, but aren't like a stockinette body. There's some sort of color work, there's some sort of cable, there's some sort of lace yoke. They're so interesting and they're so well constructed. I love because I've gotten into designing pretty deeply at this point. So a lot of times when I'm working, I'm like trying to do math, I'm trying to write down what I'm doing, I'm trying to do some grading in my mind and think, okay, so if I do decreases like this, could I expand that up for bigger sizes, and could I shrink that down for smaller sizes? Would this shape work? Would this construction work? Which I love, but it is not relaxing at all. I have a job, I don't need another job. I'm making this into a job when I don't need to. So it's really nice to knit other people's patterns that I don't have to worry about mathing or test knitting or catching errors in. Anyway, I love Sari Norland's yarns, Sari Norland's patterns. Oh my God, if she released a line of yarn though, girl, the way I would buy that shit up. Okay, so this is an all over cable cardigan. It's got pockets that are built into the sweater. So from what I can tell and from what I've seen other people saying about this, the pocket is knitted seamlessly, I mean it would be down here, seamlessly with the sweater, and then you put a panel on the back to create the pocket rather than taking a square and just seaming it onto the front, which I think is really smart. I think it makes the pocket blend really seamlessly in. Typically, if I'm doing a cardigan and it has an option for pockets. I don't do them because I think it pulls down the way the cardigan sits, so this could be a good pocket situation. This would look good in the burnt orange yarn. Do we think? I think it might. I really love the color she has. We have a cat sighting. Do you want to say hi? Come here. This cat is a gremlin. Okay, see what I mean? I think if I don't move, she's never gonna leave. So anyway, I really like that cardigan. Okay, so while we're on the topic of cabled cardigans, I wanted to mention the Siri Cardigan. This is by Lenny Holme Samso. Lay Knit on Instagram. She did the porcelain pullover. It's all over color work, stripes, kind of horizontal stripes. I feel like everybody knitted it last year. I knitted it last year with a color changing yarn that I thought was really fun. I really like her pattern construction. So this is a 15 stitch gauge, which love that. She's gonna go quick. Graded up to size 5XL, so double extra small to 5XL, which is a lovely size range. And it's available in English, Danish, German, and Norwegian. So if you're watching this video and you're looking for a pattern that's not in English, here you go. So we've got cable panels down the front, and then there's one down the sleeve as well. I think if you're looking to just branch into cable knitting, I think this could be a good pattern because it's not quite as complicated as the book club cardigan from what I can tell. I haven't knit either of them, but construction wise, this has less cables in shaping areas. Also, because it's a round neck, you're not gonna have to worry about doing your cables and then also decreasing or increasing to get that V-neck shape. So I'm excited about this one. I think this one I would actually want to do in that same white color. I think it gives it a really like puffy texture that I really like. But I've got that burnt orange yarn, so we'll see. I love this. No notes, perfection. She also has a navy blue sample, which I love. There's a gray one that I also love. Can't go wrong. Love these. Okay, pivoting away from cables and into color work. This is the Pina Pullover by Teti Lutsak. And I have had this in my queue for 1.5 minutes, okay? A couple people that I follow on Instagram have knit this, and I have 2 ways I wanna go with it. One, a burnt orange, okay, and a beige, because, you know, I have to. And I know it looks like floral stems, but I feel like if you did a burnt orange, it could look like leaves, autumnal leaves. Okay, that's one. 2, I saw someone sample on Instagram of a dark green base and a light green leaf pattern, kind of like almost a neon, like a bright green against a dark green. My water bottle's been through a lot, okay? But I think that looked so cool. And I really have been loving the like dual monochrome looks recently. I've seen a lot of like dark blue on light blue. Hot pink and light pink I think is really good. Same with purple, like an electric purple and then a lavender. So I think like a low contrast would look really cool with this. The fact that it's plants and the greens looked so cool. And if I'm not wrong, I think they design all their patterns like based on nature or inspired by nature. So I feel like a green feels right, you know? I love the look of this. I think it's so cool. It also looks like it would be really fun to knit because the way the yoke is shaped just looks really satisfying to work up. So love this. Comment, should I do orange? Should I do green? Actually also comment, after I say all of these things I'm gonna knit in a burnt orange, which one should I actually? That's your assignment. The quiz will be at the end. Okay, so sticking with color work, the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter. This is Boyland Knitworks designer. So I bought this pattern 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Context, my dad loves fishing, okay? My family used to live in Alaska a while ago. So this fish, halibut, lives off the coast of Alaska, and a lot of people go deep sea fishing. They're like flat fish. So they're those weird guys that like lay on the ocean floor and their eyes are like, and they swim, you know, you get what I'm saying? So I saw this sweater and I was like, I'm gotta make this for him. And then I didn't gauge swatch. I made it 3/4 of the way through the yoke and it was down to my waist. So I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. But you know, that's 100% on me. I really like this pattern. I really like Boyland Knitworks designs. So we're gonna give this another go. I think my original sample, I think the base, like the body color was blue, like kind of a denim navy blue. And then the fish were off-white or white, because I really like the kind of negative space contrast look with the fish being the lighter color just up through the yoke. But I think this is something that I'm gonna do in a really heavy wool. Maybe I'll try and make it for my dad again, or maybe, here was my really fun plan. I wanted to make it for my dad, my sibling, and I together so we could all 3 have one and match. But like, let's be real, it's gonna take a while. It's on 4mm needles with a 20 stitch gauge. I can't just crank out 3. I mean, I could, but like, do I really want to only look at halibut while I'm knitting for the next 2 months? Debatable. But I love this pattern so much. I can't wait to do it. I think I'm trying to tell if her sample is like a dark charcoal gray or a dark olive green. It's possible that I'm looking at pictures of 2 separate samples, but I really like the charcoal and white. I've done a couple sweaters in Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Worsted in the charcoal shade, and I really like that yarn. I think that's the cardigan I wore in my last podcast too, is that it was the Moby sweater but made into a cardigan. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a must knit. This might not be an immediate one, but I love it so much, and I'm not willing to let the fact that I was unwilling to do math keep me from knitting it again. It's color work, it's fun, it's a round yoke, it's fish, come on. Also, if you know a pattern for a sweater with sardines on it, I know this is specific, but I feel like the people who watch these, you get me, and you would know where there's a sardine sweater. So if you know of one, let me know, because I really want to make a sardine sweater. Also, this is kind of unrelated, but I feel like at the end of the year, we should like make a reel of all the dumb things and goofy things that I've said in these videos, because a couple of my friends watch these and they send me like clips of what I say that they're like, yeah, this tracks. Like, do you know of a sardine sweater? I just feel like that would be funny. Okay, continuing with color work, we have the Instant Crush by Joji Locatelli. This is so stunning to me. The burnt orange and the yellow and the blue looks so beautiful. So I think if I did this, I would want to pretty much exactly copy the colors that they used in this sample. They've got a couple other samples with like pinks and purples and blues, but just nothing strikes me the way that burnt orange strikes me. So we've got 10 sizes, also 4mm needles, 19 stitch gauge. What was I saying? Everything's a 19 stitch gauge. That's fine. I really have no problem with that. That's kind of like my preferred way to knit it anyway. Okay. I think this is really unique because I feel like a lot of the times when you see colorwork patterns, I hardly ever see them knitted in yarns that have a halo like this. So this has some fluff, it has some fuzz, and I like that a lot. I think that looks so cool. And also, typically with round yokes, think this is a round yoke. I feel like there's a lot more extra fabric kind of up in the chest circumference and the arm hole region. Maybe that's just the patterns I've done, but I really like how this fits. And I have a lot of sweaters with a lot of positive ease on the sleeves. Kind of, well, this one's not too much, but I think this would go really well under like a jacket or like a denim shirt for fall. So I think I really like this one. I don't know if I'm gonna get to this one this fall, but I love it so much. I was like, I have to put this in. So, okay, so the last pattern I have for us today is the Chantal sweater by Mareka Knit. So this, to me, screams classic, classy, timeless. The all over texture, check. The drape, check. The oversized length, check. Folded collar, check. This feels like somebody could have worn it in the 80s and would have looked as classic as they would 20 years from now. So as much as I love knits that are really original and really pushing the boundaries of what you can do with yarn, I think I need some more staples in my closet. I just love an all over textured pattern when I'm thinking about like a basic or a staple compared to all over stockinette for a couple reasons. One, I find they last better because sometimes stockinette snags more easily, or it's more obvious if it snags compared to something like this. This is on 4.5 millimeter needles, 26 stitch gauge. So it is a thin yarn, but theoretically it's loose and drapey. I'm not quite sure how that works out, to be honest. I don't know how you're getting 26 stitch gauge on 4.5 millimeter needles. Maybe I just knit too loose for that. But it looks so cool. Oh, maybe, you know what? It's a slip stitch, so maybe that messes with the gauge. Anyway, I think it looks so pretty. The bottom hem is really simple too. The sleeves are really simple. It doesn't seem like there's much, if any, shaping through there. Maybe this could be another office staple. Office girlies, weigh in, let me know. Could you wear this to work, or am I delusional? I think I need this. And as much as I've been talking about that burnt orange, I feel like if I'm doing a staple, I want it like this shade. It also would look really cool black. I feel like I don't have, is this true? I don't think I have anything knitted in black. It's difficult to knit with black yarn a lot of times, especially if you're doing anything with like a stitch pattern or a cable. So I don't typically buy it, and then I don't have anything around if and when I find a pattern that I want to do black. So I think this could be cool. I think it would look really cool with a pair of black pants too, or kind of a monochrome light colors like they did. This, I think if I like knitting the pattern, see, I don't know, because slip stitch can kind of go either way. Sometimes it's like meditative. Do you hear that? Homst is on fire. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but I think it would look cool as a monochrome fit because it's overall pretty simple. Oh, I was saying about slip stitch. Sometimes it's kind of meditative and I like it and it's rhythmic, and sometimes I feel like I'm just being slowed down. So love this. Can't wait. All right, so that's all the patterns I have for us today. As always, I had a blast. I hope you did too. My coffee is empty, so that means it's time for us to be over. Hopefully you're ready to move on with your day. Hopefully you had a good time knitting while I yapped. It's what we do. You can comment down below, you can subscribe, you can hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Do I sound like a real YouTuber? I think yes. But thank you so much for watching. Comment any video ideas you have below. Comment what you think I should do with the burnt orange yarn down below. And stay tuned for our next episode where we'll talk about everything that I've knitted. And you'll see if I've cast on any of these for the actual fall. So we'll see you next time.